Welcome. This is a very quick overview of the seamless client onboarding journey that we've generated for a couple of our clients. And we're going to go into detail on how the process and the business aspects of what we're trying to do here in terms of integrating systems and helping you to deliver an outstanding service to the client by having that seamless process when they first interact, which we think is absolutely critical to kicking off a good relationship and setting the standard for the best possible service. What are the key challenges? Hopefully these ring true. Manual complex processes, client experience from that first bit is, very much emails, fill out a form, send it back, a little bit disjointed, ineffective in terms of communication and how the modern world is set up. Data quality and pulling that data in to give you the oversight, sometimes a challenge. We've got these lengthy onboarding processes that sometimes are pertinent to the complexity of the onboarding, but sometimes they aren't relevant, and we're putting people through these lengthy processes and degrading their experience of the service that you're trying to provide, which obviously impacts on that user experience. We know we've got these siloed teams, and from a management perspective, we just don't have that overview and insight. So hopefully we're going to solve some, if not all of these problems, and try and demonstrate how we've done that in other places. What we're really talking about is three key components that we can bucket these into. First one is speed. So making things faster, and that's obviously going to impact the bottom line, profit and loss, which is a key driver in this day and age. But speed, complexity, trying to make things simpler for the team, enhancing their experience as well as the client experience. And obviously a key component is managing risk within the business, within the operation. So with that in mind, what are the strategic aims? Why bother to do this? Putting the client at the core of what we're trying to do is absolutely vital, and hopefully that makes sense from your perspective. We want to deliver that quality service. We want to be responsive and flexible, and we want to have that quality service associated with the brand that you put above the door. Hopefully that aligns with the company aims of driving growth, profit, speed, efficiency, reducing that risk, and building amazing teams and creating an environment where people want to come into work and not having to manage these unwieldy processes, these siloed teams, etc. What does that look like? Hopefully that looks like an improved client experience. Hopefully that's what we're working towards, and building those better processes. How are we going to do that? So there's lots of different ways to think about this. And these are kind of the buzzwords of the industry, certainly that we work in, and hopefully they make sense to how you're looking at the transformation with your own business, all around cloud-based, scalable solutions, removing the manual processes. And the focus for this session, obviously, is client onboarding, getting that interaction from the first point of contact all the way through to delivering the service right, and creating a connected business application platform from initial client engagement through to end billing. That would be nice. Clearly, we want to put some measurement around this, because if we don't, how do we really know we're making progress within the business? And having spoken to lots of organizations within this sector, we know that oversight and that data and getting those key components around measurement right is a challenge. Reiterate these three things. So we're always trying to balance, certainly when we look at technology, we look at business transformation, to do it or not to do it, the cost of change versus the cost of not doing something and standing still. And hopefully we're looking at that with the right lens around return on investment and not just spending on technology. Okay. And that's not the conversation that we will approach this with. And hopefully that's not the conversation that you're having internally around spending money. It's the cost of not doing something versus the cost of doing it, and the benefits and the return on any investment that you have. Then more speed, less complexity, decreased risk. And there should be a clear metric associated with anything that touches these components. We want to increase speed, reduce complexity, reduce risk. Hopefully, increasing return on investment and ultimately profit and loss. How do we achieve this? So we achieve this with good process design. That's what it really comes down to. It's not about the tools, not about the technology. It's about getting the process right and getting the experience and the journey right for the client. And that's where we come up with this phrase of a seamless onboarding journey. So it feels right for the client and it works well for the team member who's doing the doing and doing the work behind the scenes to pull it all together. From prospect to that gathering the information, doing the checks correctly, getting that approval step right, and then getting the client onboarded and ultimately delivering the service. So we've got a bit of a demo for you here, and we'll talk about client avatar of Spencer. So Spencer is someone that's jumping in, interested in the services that you deliver, has had some marketing thrown at them, and is taking that first initial step. So they're in that prospect zone, and they want to submit some information. They want to go through the onboarding process and understand how to work with you and go through that suitability process, do the checks, go through the approval, and ultimately hopefully come out the other side as quickly as possible and become a client. Spencer's the prospective client. We've then got this team member bit was highlighted in green, which is Jane effectively. So she's the one doing within the system. So she's going to have the most amount of time in the platform, the system, doing the checks, doing the approvals, ensuring that everything's coming together and working well. And then we've got that leadership oversight in terms of Agatha. She's going to be the head of client experience, and she's going to be doing the daily check-ins with her team, obviously. She'll have some sort of approval cycle that she needs to go through for all the clients, depending on what their requirements are. And then just to have those metrics very well displayed. So she at her fingertips, she's able to see what's going on within the business. And that rolls up as well to the director level and that clear oversight that links in with the sales process as a whole and gives us a really good view of that pipeline, which, if we're not doing that, we've got potentially holes in the pipeline because we don't understand when and how people are going to get through this onboarding, the hot hole. So Spencer is obviously going to submit some information, go through a check qualification, do some AML likeness, KYC, all that good stuff, hopefully get the approval, and then get some information as to what to do next, how to interact, and get his problem solved, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get them in and solve their problems. Initially, it's going to be that application form. That's hopefully going to be as slick as possible. We're going to do some of the checks, and we're going to be able to see what's going on in terms of keeping up to date and understanding how our application is being processed and where we are in this chain of events. Jane's view is obviously receiving that information, doing the checks, running through the AML, interacting with the different systems that are required to get someone through the onboarding. And hopefully that's an integrated approach, and the demo will touch on the different touch points and how to bring that all together within one system. The client onboarding portal. We can see here the onboarding portal display. We've got a rich graphic video in the background just to highlight that we can add in complex websites. Got the chatbot that's popped up. We can integrate with an AI chatbot and provide that upfront information. At the top, we've got the buttons and the text box, which are going to kick off the first step in that application form process. Step 1 is asking what type of business, limited company we're going to go for in this example, and then some basic information. Step 2, some information about you, the prospect, as you go through this process, the essential information that's required. Step 3 is going to ask for some basic company information. Company number, industry sector, licensed industry, and then the number of people within the organization. Using that company number, it's then going to go away, and this is the first integration step that's happening in the background. It's going to go away and look at Companies House and draw through all that rich information to obviously make that seamless process for the client. So this is now just a validation process to ensure that what's been brought back is correct. And then you can go ahead and submit the application. The application form is then completed. The applicant is informed via email, as you'd expect, and given those essential next steps, what they can expect to happen over the next 24, 48 hours. In the background, that information is obviously fed through to the system, and that's what we will look at next, how that lands for the team member that's then going to go and process that application. From the team member dashboard, we can see the submitted application and open it up. Orientating ourselves to the form, I can highlight the different tabs broken out by functional business area, the business process flow, which guides the whole process, and the timeline where we can see everything that has happened with this application. From the form, We have further integration touchpoints out to LinkedIn, so we can match up the applicant with the organization and build out our understanding of the company and the individual. We can look at the information pulled in from Companies House. Our third integration touch point to make this a seamless system pulls back due diligence reports for the directors and the organization. Other examples of integration could be likeness checks and KYC checks, such as Smart Search or DDIQ. At the top of the form, we can see the business process flow, which guides that team member through the process at each stage. I can see the application number and the primary applicant. If we click on the next stage, we can see the steps and checks associated with due diligence and could reject the applicant if they are not suitable. The next step of the process is for us to confirm that due diligence is completed and follow along, checking through the different onboarding steps. It is worth noting that this business process flow can easily be customized and completely tailored to the needs of the organization and the teams. The last stage of the process is to complete the application. Options to send paperwork out, which will then go away and generate the documents and send them to the client through an automated workflow. We can then create a lead or opportunity to allow the sales team to follow up and build the relationship with the prospect. We can then complete the process. The client will get notified that everything is in order, and the relevant colleague can then begin to look at the client's needs, allocate resources, and easily start providing an amazing service. That completes the team member demo. And next will be a look at the leadership view and the important insights that the live data can provide through dashboards and reporting. So hopefully that made sense and gave you a little bit of an insight as to what things could look and feel like in an ideal world, in a world where systems talk to each other, we're presented with the information, fields are populated, we're not doing the manual rekeying information, we've got everything built in, and hopefully that's given you a kind of an appetite to build out some good processes within the business. The next component which we're going to touch into is how that might look like from a management perspective, and how as a team lead or a director of client success, you're going to be able to see what's going on and ideally get a better view of the numbers and the metrics that are going to be key to the success of the business ultimately. Because if we get this right, then hopefully everything's going to join in. So as part of Agatha's journey, she's going to have that approval process, checking the clients are onboarding successfully, and just checking what the team's going into, what the team's up to, and what they're doing. Monitoring a real-time dashboard, so that might be the daily metrics that the Agatha's interested in, and then maybe some more enhanced KPIs that will feed into the sales pipeline, the forecasting, and those aspects of the forward vision that is key to driving success in terms of metrics. So Agatha might not want to be on the system doing the doing, because that's not her role. She might want to interact through something like Teams, and that's how we've built it out previously from a management perspective and building out the dashboards within Teams. So, she's on the train into work, for example, she can quickly jump into Teams on her phone or a tablet and see what's going on with the team. Active applications, how they're progressing, what stage they're at, if there are any problems, we can just scan down and do that quickly whilst checking in with messages and all the other bits and pieces. That approval process can also sit in there within the Teams application as well. So that's something that we've done prior to that. A more enhanced view in terms of rolling this up into the business overview and getting that key dashboard oversight. So without understanding what's going on with that client onboarding, and having that integration and understanding those key metrics, we might not be having full visibility of what that qualification step is, because we just got that black area around client onboarding. So that's going to hopefully give you visibility there, which will make the forecasting more accurate, which hopefully will directly impact your qualified pipeline and understanding your revenue numbers in a much more accurate way. Clearly, win-loss ratio is going to be a component to that. Getting that number right, and the days to close as well, because we understand where people are within the client onboarding journey exactly, and how long it's going to take them to get through that next step. How does this all manifest? So really what we're trying to do is create a client-centric onboarding experience. We're trying to give you that consolidated view in terms of the integrated systems, getting everything in one place, I guess is what we're trying to say here, streamlining the process and providing that insight and overview. Where have we done this? So Haynes Watts is a key strategic partnership for us, where we have implemented pretty much what you've seen in terms of that demo, systems talking to each other. That would be the look and feel of what we've done here for Haynes Watts. And, just to give some referenceability, the partnership there perfectly aligns with our vision, enhance our client focus initiative, which hopefully is music to your ears in terms of where you're trying to take your business. Another long-term strategic partnership directly linked to client onboarding. We've done lots with Virgin Money, but here we're talking about some incredible metrics, which is directly impacting the acquisition rate, increasing that from 5 to 34. And 20% applications can get straight through with that enhanced process. And we're really directly implementing something that's going to provide direct return on investment. But wait, there's more. On top of what we've seen in terms of the demo there, obviously that's a good place to be. Maybe you're there, maybe you're not, maybe you're interested in taking things to that level. But there is another level to that. We're working with a client at the moment where we're trying to build in a risk profile, which effectively assesses the risk of the client trying to be onboarded and then provides a tiered approach to the onboarding process that will hopefully speed things up based on the risk appetite, the amount of risk that the client poses to the business. So low risk, it'll be a quicker process. We'll be able to get through those gates much quicker. Higher risk, there's going to be a few more checks and measures put in place. And that's where we're trying to utilize AI and a more complex approach to building out the systems and the processes, but everything in one place to really give that enhanced view and ideally make things much better for the client. Integrations, we touched on a couple of integrations there in the demo that you saw, but we're in a really good space in terms of how we can pull systems together now and really present that data within the Dynamics platform and really utilize that information coming through and having everything in a joined up approach and not living in a world where we're having to log into different systems, pull information, rekey all those components. No presentation from a tech provider would be complete without a touch on AI. So, in order to be ready to really utilize these enhanced tools and things like Copilot and having support in terms of the processes from an AI capability, we need to have everything in one place. We need to have the data in one place. We need to understand that the system is joined up, so then we can then layer on top the advanced technology that can actually utilize and speak to that data and provide you with useful things to help you drive the business forward, and not just throwing in AI which without any process or developed thinking around it. Let's end with a short quote from one of our clients. So we're more efficient spending time on value-driven processes rather than firefighting through legacy ways of working, which kind of sums up where we want to get to, really, where we want to support you in getting to if you're interested in enhancing that client onboarding journey. Thank you very much for taking the time to get all the way to the end of this presentation. I've kept it as quick and as focused as I possibly can. There's a lot more detail. And, if you want more detail, more information, or to go through the demo in slow time and answer lots of questions, then just reach out to us at Telefónica Tech. And we will be more than happy to sort of take that next step and have more of a chat about this stuff. Okay, this is what we live and breathe. And we're always excited to talk about it. Thank you very much.